Are we live right now?
We're live? No, we're recording.
Well, I mean, but we're recording. Okay, well, yeah. I didn't realize uh this other organization, music group, and friends of ours, they did a fantasy football league where the members of the league teams are bands, and it's 12 bands, and we're one of the bands, and the draft is starting right now. So
Oh
oh,
shit. I
yeah,
didn't realize that.
I didn't know that either until like 10 minutes ago when they messaged me. So, I mean, I'm not like super into it, so I queued up some players, but if I just suddenly look away from my screen to just
It's
pick
all
a wide
right.
receiver or
I
something,
can
that's
stall for us.
It's okay. Chris randomly will Google for us during interviews.
Yeah, I've
And we're
always
like,
got it
oh,
ready to go.
This is an important fantasy football league, though, I would say.
it's a lot. It's not more important than this, but
What
it's
all
a
other
lot of,
bands are in it?
dude, Keep Flying, Felicity, Linus, Portside Dive, Broadwing, and some others I don't remember.
I know everybody but Broadway.
That's okay.
I don't think I've ever done fantasy football before. I've known a lot of people who have done it.
Once you get
I'm
in, you can't get out.
Yeah, I'm in a dynasty league outside of this one. I'm I'm too into it, honestly. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's I've accepted it about myself.
Well, now I'm curious who your players are.
And my dynasty league, here, I'll show up. Let's talk football. Let's
I
just
mean, the season
completely
is starting, and the Packers and the Eagles are going to be in Brazil on Friday.
But I did hear that the air quality is so bad right now that they were talking about potentially canceling or postponing it.
Huh.
Uh,
That's embarrassing.
because the rainforest and the forest fires are just crazy right now, apparently.
Sheesh, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Uh,
weird enough that it was going to be on a Friday night, anyways.
Also true.
Friday Night Lights. That's high school football time where I'm from.
I got
Right? That
Lamar
is.
Jackson,
Oh shit. Let's go.
Saquon Barkley,
Let's
Josh
go.
Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Dallas Goddard, Amari Cooper, Joshua Palmer, who I think is going to go off this year with Chargers. Um, and then on my bench, I have Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Dalvin Cook, Devin Singletary, uh,
Looking good, dude.
Hollywood Brown,
You're looking good.
and then some others. But yeah, it's kind of
I
a
didn't
stack.
recognize any names because I didn't think they were
No?
any Packers. So
Oh,
That's all right. That's all right. We're way too into football, dude. I'm from Pittsburgh, so Steelers. The Steelers culture around here is just you can't escape it. So you either love it or, you know,
so you're a
football
Steelers
sucks.
fan, and Kellen, you're a what fan?
I'm a Commanders fan.
Commanders fan.
Yeah, formerly Redskins. Yeah, my grandpa. I grew up in the just outside in Maryland, like right in between DC and Baltimore, and my grandpa was big time Redskins fan. I was just kind of
Well, obviously, I'm a Packer fan because I'm in Wisconsin. So,
yeah. No, I know
Yeah.
a lot of Packers fans. Being in Minnesota now, I work with a lot of them. A
well, at
lot of
least
them
you're not a Vikings fan. So,
really annoying. Yeah, that's true. I don't think I ever could be a Vikings fan.
and Chris, you're a Bills fan, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't mean to hijack this, by the way, with football talk. I was just trying to give you a heads up about the
It's
draft.
okay. It's okay. I like talking about random
You
other things.
you do you, boo boo.
Cool.
Well, what do you guys want to talk about? I guess we should just get right into it, huh?
Well, I'm assuming it's just the two of you tonight then.
Yes, just
No
the
one
two
else
of
is
us.
joining us.
No,
So,
just
if you
the
could
two
just
of
introduce
us.
yourselves and the role you play in the band then.
Sure. My name's Kellen McKay. I play guitar and I sing and I write the songs in Stacked Like Pancakes.
My name is Nick. I play the bass and I also sing and I do a little bit more on the back end side.
All
Production.
right.
Yeah.
So now we did kind of touch on this that you are living in Minnesota right now. So is everyone in Minnesota or is everyone elsewhere?
No, so it's a little weird. Like honestly, most of the blame I guess is on COVID. The pandemic kind of threw everyone everywhere except for Nick, who stayed in Pittsburgh and is still based there. But so it's like the band is largely based in Minnesota, essentially. But we found that after the pandemic, we tried to say like the band is located in the Pancake Nation, but then people were like, were kind of confused where we were actually, like, where are you still from, Baltimore? And so while there are some members of the band that are in other parts of the country, the pretty much like the headquarters, the home base is Minneapolis.
Okay.
And what's the
So
scene like there in Minneapolis? Do you guys get good support there?
We get great support. I mean, before the pandemic and in the before times, um, I remember we played at a place called the Garage in Burnsville, Minnesota, and that was for the VIP tour. And that was a tour where after every show we uh would make pancakes. We brought griddles and we would make pancakes for the first, I think we did like the first 20 ticket buyers or something like that. And we made pancakes for them after the show. But we played at the Burnsville, the Garage location, and there were like 200 plus people there. And that was like the first time I remember saying to the crew, like, this feels like a home for us. This feels like this could be a home for us. And then we kept visiting. We visited, I think, one, and then we had another show that was canceled. But yeah, it kind of kept that in the back of my mind. And when I had a opportunity to change locations, I decided to move everything to Minneapolis, basically.
What were you gonna say, Just? I cut you off.
nothing of importance.
How are you guys received, not well playing home shows?
Oh, it's unbelievable. This past run, I guess we can dive right into it, but so to kind of bring it back a little bit, we technically started this past tour in Erie, Pennsylvania, on a little one-off show that we did with a good friends of ours, a band called Keep Flying, and they were on tour at the time with Bowling for Soup, and it was them and a band called Eternal Boy, who is a Pittsburgh-based band where I'm from. And they had a Pittsburgh show on a Sunday night, and they had a Cleveland show on a Tuesday night. So Keep Flying decided that they're going to book like a little secret show and a little space in between. So that ended up being like a very small DIY space in Erie, Pennsylvania. And they asked us, or the promoter actually asked us to open for the show. And knowing well that we were, we're not a band that's really based anywhere near Erie, Pennsylvania, but Keep Flying is such good friends of ours. Actually, on our new EP, we have the singer of Keep Flying, Henry Menzel, is actually featured on one of our songs. So we saw this as a great opportunity to kind of market that new song and have Henry sing that song with us live. So we've gone to great lengths. We flew everybody out to Pittsburgh, which is 2 hours away from Erie, in my house and studio that I help run, and another DIY space. We practiced there like 3 days prior, and ran through all the new material, ran through the new song that we were going to play with Henry on stage. Didn't even practice it with Henry. Got to the venue Monday night and performed the song with him, and it couldn't have gone better, honestly. Keep Flying is a very beloved band in Pennsylvania, just in general. And so the Monday night turnout was just incredible. And every single fan that was there for Keep Flying was also there for us. And it was crazy how much of a fan base crossover that we have. So it's like a lifelong friends that we'll always have with them, and always grateful to be able to play shows with them like that. And they went off their separate ways. They went back on tour on the road with Bowling for Soup, finished that tour, and we all flew back home. And less than 2 weeks later, boom, we were right back on the road. And to bring up again, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota was absolutely bonkers. We had that on a Sunday night show, and Sunday night shows can be hit or miss. You know what I mean? People got to go to work next day. There's a lot of factors that go into Sunday night shows. And so it was kind of a risk, but we were able to secure 7th Street entry in Minneapolis, which is attached to the legendary First Avenue.
Where Prince played so many times,
and the Ramones and like countless other like timeless acts have played. And so we were in this little room right next to it, adjacent. We actually loaded in our gear through the space where that big stage is, where all those bands played.
it was kind of a tease. We were like, okay, we know we're not playing at this big stage in this venue, but let's keep walking past and dreaming about it for the future. Yeah.
But the smaller venue right next to it, it was perfect for what we had. Like it was a nice, intimate experience, and we're all about quality over quantity any day. Even though the quantity was in the hundreds, there was definitely a lot more people there than I thought were going to be there. But the room was packed. I mean, shoulder to shoulder people was packed by the time we went on stage. We got to play with our good friends Space Monkey Mafia, who are a local Minneapolis band, killing it. The Prize Fighters, Goodbye Mordecai, and a band called Rhino Shrine also played. So it was a 5-band bill on a Sunday night. And so if Minneapolis can turn out that kind of turnout on a Sunday night, they got something good going on in their local scene. Which actually brings me to the next night. We had Monday night off. We shot a music video in Minneapolis. On Tuesday night, we played in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And looking out into the crowd, you wouldn't believe it's a Tuesday night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It looked like a Friday or Saturday night here in Pittsburgh, where I'm from. Working class people drove far and wide after work to come to a ska show.
Yeah.
Local band called Mescalis, local band called Local Legends, actually, was what they were called. And another band called Kellen. What's the third band? Remind me one more time. Man Alive. Awesome punk band from Wisconsin. They hopped on like last minute, so their name sometimes escapes me because they weren't like listed on the bill till the very end. But Milwaukee, Wisconsin, holy, like Wisconsin's definitely a place that we definitely want to come play more shows at, because you guys have got a killer local scene like everywhere in Wisconsin for everything.
Played there on a Tuesday night, and like it's one of those shows that felt like a Saturday. And I think we said on stage too, it's like, okay, next time we route a tour, if it's our tour that we're routing, we're definitely putting Milwaukee area on a prime Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I did want
that goes on to every city that we played on that entire tour, by the way.
I did want to
turnout was incredible.
I guess specifically about Baltimore, which is, I guess like the hometown and former location for the band. I was really anxious about that band. I mean, anxious about that show just because I didn't want for there to be a perception of this did I don't know. I was like in my head about it. It's almost silly thinking back on it now, I guess, but fuck you for leaving us. Just kind of get self-conscious about that, and just hyper aware of what people's perception of us saying that a new location in the country is where we're now located. But that show kind of shattered all of those thoughts, and I cried on stage with how just truly, as cliche as it is to say, it was magical. It was such a good show. Just the connection with the fans. I don't think they stopped moving for a single song during our set, or dancing and singing most of the words, and went so hard for the new music too. It was Baltimore is obviously still a place in our hearts as a band, and for the larger part of our growth and journey as a band.
Oh yeah, Baltimore was by far the most bonkers crowd on that entire tour. They were from start to finish too.
Yeah,
that was the only night we played. Sorry if everybody's listening from other cities when you saw us, but that was the only night that we played an encore, quote unquote.
Because we planned to not play an encore. Basically, we do this thing on stage where we kind of use it as a tool to have people go harder for our last song, which is not an encore. So we say look, this is your last chance type of thing. This is your last chance to go as hard as you want and have fun and dance and sing. But they kept chanting one more song relentlessly. And so we were backstage what do we do? Do you remember this song? We haven't played this song in a year and a half. And we ended up playing, or I went back on stage. We have a song called Money Sucks. And it's just an acoustic song. And and then halfway through the song, all my bandmates came up and stood around me, and it was just it was so emotional, and loved every second of it.
Well, it's good that your original home still loves you.
Truly, yeah,
very much so.
Speaking of love, your new EP came out about a month ago. How has that been received by fans?
Well, I just checked today, and we're at, let's see, less than a month, and I think we're about to hit 40,000 streams on Spotify alone.
Not bad.
yeah, those numbers are pretty insane for us.
Is that a lot?
I feel like it is.
Is that a lot?
It's a lot for us.
Not a big deal.
Oh, okay. I thought I didn't see your face. I was like,
Not a big deal.
yeah, no, it's great for us. And we're trying to keep feeding it. We're trying to have like we actually just became verified, finally chasing that for ever on Instagram.
Zuck
And
hates us actually.
yeah, I guess. I don't know, but we got that stupid blue check. Um, but I think that is why we got it. I like to think anyway, it was just part of this recent success of this tour and our presence on social media as a whole, and people's growing awareness of the new music or new fans chiming in. I think it's all. I like to think anyway that it's all kind of connected and kind of feeds into each other. But yeah, I mean, we knew going into it when we were recording it, and as we were starting to hear the rough mixes, we said several times as we were recording it and listening to it that this is the absolute best Stacked Like Pancakes music that we've ever recorded and will release. We're just so passionate about it and confident in these songs, and I think it's showing. The success of it is showing what we knew to be true for this music, and people are responding very, very well, and super hyped for this music.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's matching or exceeding uh how we hoped people would perceive it.
Oh yeah. The proof of it was live. Like when we play all the new songs live, like everybody was jumping, singing along. They knew every single word. And the songs had only been out for like a week at that point, sometimes less than a week. So people were really jamming out to it. And it was sick. That was sick to see. They were the best songs I think that we played live too. Like to this date, I think the new EP is the best Stacked Like Pancakes songs to date, period.
Yeah. I love the EP. It's a great EP.
Thank
My
you.
my favorite song though is the title track, which is Everything Happens, because I can so super resonate with a lot of the lyrics in that song. But
Yeah.
then my other favorite song is the Taylor Swift one, but that's also because it features Suburban Legends,
Yes.
which they're an epic ska band. And how was it working with them for that song?
Vincent is such an amazing dude. Oh my God. I love him so much. And he was so supportive, and hyped to do it. And it just like fueled us more too and but actually too, he was kind of like a not last minute feature, but it just came together later in the process. Um to where we actually almost didn't have a feature. We were planning at one point to just not have a feature in that song. But now looking back on that, it's like there's no way it could be any other way except what it is right now. Because he's just so perfect for just his like his tone and his the what's the word, like his how he
His
what's
embouchure.
I guess no, but it's like how he plays with the words and with his singing, and he makes it so much more colorful in that sense. And
He Vince Walker's it. Does
yeah,
that make sense?
he just it's yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just he's such a great guy. They're all great dudes, and hopefully it just we can build on the growing relationship with them and maybe do some more shows, especially if we go out west again in the future at some point. We plan to eventually, but it's hard to get out there.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet though. They haven't done a lot of shows because they're kind of like doing stuff but not doing stuff.
Yeah.
And they do the Disney thing
I
a
know. I was
lot.
gonna say they're kind of tied down to Disney, like, yeah. Which don't get me wrong, that's awesome to be like,
I would
just
just go to Disney to see them.
right. That facts.
It's
Yeah.
been years since I saw them. I think the last time I might have seen them was when I think it was Tim was still the singer.
Oh, that's been a while then, right?
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while. I
Yeah.
think I might have seen them once with Vince though. I might have. But I remember seeing them at a bowling alley once. That was a fun show.
That's sick.
That is sick.
We actually
at the
played at a
bowling
bowl.
alley. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say in Youngstown, Ohio, we played at a bowling alley.
Super
West Side
sick.
Bowl. That was an impressive venue for being a bowling alley. Like it
Sick
was
lighting setup, sick audio setup, nice big giant stage.
like it
Tons
really
of people.
it was more like a music venue with a bowling alley attached to it than a bowling alley with a like
Uh-huh.
stage.
Oh yeah,
Like,
this was definitely a bowling alley with a stage.
right. I'm saying this one
Yeah.
was like it like you could I don't know. It was insane what they put into that.
Yeah, there's pictures of that show on our Instagram.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the writing process of writing that song with Vince. I've always been curious, being a ska band, what is your writing process compared to a regular band? And does someone present an idea and everyone builds from it? Or do you guys just come up with stuff on a whim, like during rehearsal and whatnot?
So so Stacked Like Pancakes has been my baby as for a long time as just like it's been an outlet for me of sorts from the songwriting perspective. So I go into like my cave and I write as much as I can and then I come out of the cave with
One
uh
he's in right now.
yeah, I come out of the cave with a shell of a song and we put it together and then I might go back in and dial in different things. But I guess like the reason that I don't say like I'm the sole songwriter is like a sense of, like arrogance or anything like that. But it just happens to be the case that in our band, even though bands have different ways of going about writing and some more collaborative than others. Prior to the band, like in it even existing, like going back to high school, I was writing a lot of poetry and the way that I look back on it is like poetry in the way of like I didn't know it at the time, but they were what I was writing could have been songs. And then at the same time, I started uh learning and learning guitar more. And then I was like kind of molding the two of like guitar and writing these poems together to where they became songs naturally and organically. Um, and that kind of writing process where it's just like not just writing songs, that kind of writing process was my outlet in high school where I was just, but this I developed well at the time an undiagnosed depression and anxiety like many do that and when you get into high school and I so yeah, I mean songwriting and writing as a whole just became my outlet. And then when we started playing shows and I was performing these songs that I was putting all these emotions into and started to uh receive some of the response of people like saying, "Hey, this is what this song or this lyric meant to me for what I'm going through." I just got hooked on that and love the connection that uh these songs have um made for us as a band. But going down the road, working with Nick, um, in particular, I love that we're able to he can we trust each other musically and I'll still come up with a present like a more or less complete song but he's such a fantastic musician and bass player that he'll kind of like rewrite in the sense of some of the bass lines or we'll
Thanks,
rework
brother.
some of the vocals and you know
Checks in the mail.
but we have a great trust for each other and he's kind of coming more and more into the that process of putting the music together. I hope I in a very long-winded way answered.
Yeah, Kellen will basically will demo everything out like in Ableton or whatever, and then we'll go into the studio with all the parts like already written out like on sheet music.
Yeah.
So it's like and we're all like classically trained musicians like in the studio. We have a studio trumpet player as well who's he's actually director of some sort of orchestra in Alaska or something like that. But yeah, he's like he's a top of the line trumpet player and you can put anything in front of him. He can play it however you want. So that's basically how we engineer it. Since we're all spread out all over the place, this is kind of how we go through the process.
Yeah.
So when we get to the studio, everybody knows what they're doing. There could be no time wasted because time is money.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know how to read your part. So we'll learn all the parts. Kellen will send us all the sheet music, plenty of time ahead of time to learn everything. We go into the studio and then we track everything. Okay, while we're tracking, this is where the songwriting thing kind of meets the getting produced side of things. It's people kind of view them as one and the same. They're not. They're two different things. So my roommate Brad, who also recorded everything and engineered everything and mixed everything, he's also a fantastic musician himself. And him and I together, when we're sitting here and like we're listening to the playback of all the music, we're like, that's kind of weird that chorus only has 2 hits on it. What if we just play straight through the chorus and just listen back to it, see how it sounds? And we did that, and we're like, yes, that sounds so much more like a chorus, stuff like that. Little things that Kellen will hear and be like, oh my god, that's a great idea, or that, or vice versa, that's a terrible idea. Like, we'll be able to do that in the studio and refine the songs. And I'm so happy that we did that, because there's so many little things that just make this record what it is, that that happened right there on the spot, like in the studio.
There wasn't any point where one person was like trying to grab more power in a sense of like, but like we all had a mutual respect for each other. And there were points where Brad, our producer, was like, was respectfully like, Kellen, I hear you, but this is really, really, really what I think it should be. And then I'd kind of like it, maybe actually take the night if I could to sleep on it, and then come back and be like, okay, you're right. And there were sometimes too where I'd be like firm on, no, this is exactly like how I envisioned it, and but between the three of us, there was a great chemistry there, and it only helped like make the songs even more solid, and become exactly what they needed to be.
I agree. So yeah, that's the long answer of how we write. Well, that's how we wrote this record. So
Yeah.
So where in the writing process do the horns come into play? And I'm also curious, have you done any, let's say, non-traditional ska instrumentation experimentation that maybe didn't make it onto the record?
ooh, that's a great question.
That is a great question. Wait, what was the first part of the question? I kind of
When in the writing process do those horns come into play? When are those figured out?
yeah. So I'll take this first part, and then Nick, why don't you take the second part? The when so I see each song that I write as like a unique experience, I guess, and there isn't any like I don't go into writing a song and say, okay, I'm going to start with verse 1 and then go into the pre-chorus. Like sometimes it's just like words on a page that might not even make any sense, but it's like this came to my mind. It sounds like it could be poetic, or it means something to me, or something I observed, or etc. And I'm just putting it down. I do like the kind of cathartic experience of writing it down. I write pretty much everything. Um, and so I'll write it, and then I might never use it again, or I might open it, like remember it later if I come up with another nugget of an idea and be like, wait, that could kind of work with this idea. And so sometimes the the first thing that comes to my mind is a horn line, and in that case it's not as easy to write that down, so I'll just go in voice memos on my phone and just record a little horn ditty or something. And then they're really usually really, really embarrassing recordings. But I'll just get it down so that I have it and don't lose the idea. So sometimes it's like I'll like have a voice recording that's like star star star, like very, very good horn line, definitely use this in a ska song, like that'll be the name of it. And sometimes it'll just be like weird horn line, or horn line 1, horn line 2, horn line 3. So and then there are sometimes where I'm writing a song and it's like I just know what the beginning melody horn line is going to be, and then I base the rest of the song around that. So long answer made paraphrased, I guess, like it's different for every song. There's no, I try not to limit myself to having a very specific way of writing any song, and I tried to just like let the song come out, I guess, if that makes sense, in as an organic way as possible.
Okay. What was the second part of your question again? I was listening to
Have you guys experimented with any non-traditional ska instruments that maybe
Oh.
didn't make it onto the record?
Yeah. Actually, we did with instruments that did make it onto the record, actually. in Jessica's favorite song, Everything Happens, during the drum part, it's just the drums where it's just a kick and a hi-hat and a snare and a China cymbal going back and forth. But Brad, my roommate, is our engineer, is also a terrific like synthwave artist, and he has like everything under the sun as far as synth stuff goes. He's really into the synths, and if you hear it, we have this really weird like whoosh, whoosh part going on over top of it, and he did that by hand, like
Yeah,
with
he like created those.
yes, and like the snare reverb, like he created that snare reverb like digitally, like from scratch. Like he engineered everything like down to a T.
Yeah, he didn't go to like samples.com and just, I don't even know if that's an
Yeah, so I would say non-traditional instruments would be like the I wouldn't say synth heaviness on this, but there's tons of synth like on the record that like you don't even notice unless you like really listen for it. And Brad did a terrific job like putting it where it needed to be and like hiding it the way he did, and just like the crazy parallel compressions he would do, and the timing of the delays on and the way he would double some of the horn lines with some keys. If you listen, like there's a piano behind some of the parts. Like it's fucking wild if you dissect it all down. But like he's just like that, man. He just took the time and made it. He made it worth the while. That's for sure.
There's a vibra slap in a song.
There is a vibra slap in a song.
I don't know if there's
in
really
Taylor
any...
Swift. In Taylor Swift, there's a
Yeah.
banjo.
Oh, banjo, that right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's just for like a couple of notes though, like
Yeah.
going into the chorus. Like you have to listen for it.
So I
Stuff
guess-
like that.
I guess there really isn't anything that didn't make it, to be honest, now that we're talking about this out loud. Yeah, we also took some, tried to have some moments where we could, if time permitted, to where we just like do our best to think outside the box, like and what's something unique or cool that could exist in this space but still make sense and be cohesive. And
tambourine, egg shakers, you name it.
yeah, those are all kind of expected, I guess, for like
what about like a didgeridoo
Or like a kazoo.
I'm gonna write a song for didgeridoo.
I would love to take a kazoo solo in a song someday. That would be fucking sick.
You want to do the kazoo solo? Wow.
I would. I could have it around my neck live. You know what I mean? Like I used to do that in the past. I used to have one like with a shoestring that I just kind of drilled a hole through and put the shoestring through. So it was kind of like while I'm playing bass, I would like just grab it with my tongue and hold it up, and I would take it up to the mic, and I would play along with the horns with the kazoo. Because that we had for some reason I went on Amazon and bought like a shit ton of kazoos like in a multi like party pack. And I was like, oh, we should try to sell these at the merch table. And like nobody was buying them. So I was like trying to sell it on stage. Like, oh, you can get the kazoo and kazoo along to the horn parts and shit. Like an idiot. So yeah.
That's crazy that no one bought them, because I remember Motion City Soundtrack was selling kazoos once.
Oh, I have seen.
Yeah.
I think I had one. I think I still do. It's somewhere in storage.
And they're a lot more collectible than like my shitty little local ska band, but understandable.
Never know. It could have been worth something someday.
Anyway, great question, Chris. Great question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So how do you guys prepare for a live performance? Are there any specific elements or arrangements that change when you play live versus in the studio?
Tons of drugs and alcohol. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're a straight edge band.
Yeah. We're pretty lame. Like I'll get back from tour and like my coworkers would be like, yo, did you do like what are
like, no, bro, I went to sleep, dude.
Yeah, we we played the show and then put all of our energy in the show, and then we crashed and then drove and then repeated all of that. But anyway, different arrangements. Yeah, you know what's interesting, I guess, like kind of potentially alluding to what we may be working on in the not so distant future, is that we are there are some songs that we haven't played in a while from the third record, Strange Creatures. It's because honestly we're going back to our roots with ska, and like all in on ska, and most if not all of the songs on that record are just like not ska. It's more of like a rock album with horns, and that was just the direction that we were taking at the time, and part of our journey. But we still love all of the songs, and there are some in particular that were like, well, what if we just kind of tweak them and make them a little bit more ska, just add some like upchucks on the guitar, or change this part around, et cetera, et cetera. So we have actually been cooking up some ideas for how to do that in the future. But then, so I guess like with already existing songs, like, a song for the broken, I think, is a good example of one of the first songs that I wrote for the band. And when I wrote that song, and probably I'm gonna guess like 2009, I was a very different person in 2009 than I am in 2024. And it's not like, I don't think it's necessary to like change some lyrics or anything, but you grow as a person and you grow as a musician and songwriter. And then like I look back and listen to some older songs, it's like, like, you can just see the growth. It's not like I'm shitting on myself for older music that I've written. It's just like I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just like trying to write things that felt good. And to this day, I still try to, but I just have more experience under my belt now. So I kind of like rework some of those songs, if necessary, to just make them feel better live, and go with the overall feeling and emotion that we're trying to have while we do our show. So it does happen from time to time where we'll kind of rework a song, but it just challenges us, and keeps everybody engaged and excited. And also I think there's some things like, if you, as a music patron, what I've always loved about seeing some of my favorite bands is like, if they do change up little things, you get to know and love and memorize, in some cases, if you listen to it enough, very, very intricate parts of a song. And then if a band or artist deviates away from that a little bit, it can throw you off. You're it can throw you off, but then it's like, oh, okay, that's refreshing, like that feels good. So we try to, if we do change anything, we try to follow that, and just make sure it still feels good, and we're not like taking away from the song, we're just adding to it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
So being a ska band, I'm going to bring up the 2-decade-old hot debate. KSB Nights, Catch 22 or Streetlight Manifesto?
Catch 22.
Catch 22.
Catch 22. Okay, I'm right there with you. I had to ask.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You answered it right. Okay, good.
I've only ever seen it be performed by Streetlight Manifesto. So
Yeah.
I wish I could have been around back in the day where it was originally performed, but on the record, absolutely. Catch 22.
Yeah, I saw a really weird or strange combination tour, and it must have been 05 or 06, where Catch 22 toured with Hawthorne Heights for a victory tour, and they did a college tour, and that was a wild combination.
That seems like something Victory would have done.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. We just played a ska festival in Pittsburgh on this tour. That the headliner this year was Mustard Plug, but the headliner last year was actually Catch 22.
Nice.
And they I think they ended with Hey Sergio or something like that.
Hey, Sergio.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them live again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, they kind of stick to they're just like doing weekenders now occasionally. So it's they're not really like getting cross country or anything. It's harder to get out to the show. So I feel that it's been a long time since I've seen them too.
Yeah, the first time I ever met John from Keep Flying, he told me that I remind him of the bass player in that band.
Wow.
I was like, what? All right, thanks.
What?
So go ahead.
No, I've also been told I look like the singer from State Champs, but I don't think that's true at all either. So anyway,
don't
go
know.
ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say maybe a little. So ska is known for its high energy performances and live shows. How do you maintain that while remaining engaged with the audience?
Lots of caffeine.
Yeah.
Honestly, like our audiences are actually let's shout out to them. They bring the energy a lot more than like we do sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's like when they bring it, like we really bring it. Like on the Baltimore show, like going back to that, like that's the best example of it. Like that was the last show on the whole tour, and we had just been like going hard every single night, balls to the wall, like from that point. And like that was the last show, and there was so many people there going hard out there that like you can't help yourself but going hard. But I was like drenched in sweat. It was like that. I don't know. I think that's the best answer is like when you have a crowd that does that, like willingly on their own, like I think that's how you keep that energy going is the crowd themselves.
Well, here's the thing that I has really excited me from this last tour. One of the things anyway is that I have kind of like taken on the role as like for a long time. Well, I guess I should say for many years in the beginning of the band, I was the only guitarist, and then going into college, I kind of felt like this need to move to more of like a frontman role that would do like rhythm guitar, but also just like run around on stage. That kind of came with like our Warp Tour time, where um, you're a lot of Warp Tour, and our success was Warp Tours. Like you're vying for people's attention in a way, but you just want as many people as you can of the tens of thousands of people that come to Warped Tour to see your set. So anyway, I was not as much playing guitar, and Steve has been in the band for many years now. And just last year he moved to Arizona and is building life there, and he left the band. We still love him. No bad blood or any hard feelings either way there. Um, but through that, it was like, well, do we find another guitarist, or do could I really is the best way of putting it, take on this more of like
Head
a lead
southwest.
guitar role? What was that?
Oh,
Nick,
that was my phone. I'm sorry.
sorry. Take on this like lead guitar role, and so anyway, my to I guess answer your question, I was very, very anxious about this tour of like not having that like kind of frontman presence and being glued down in one spot on the stage, playing guitar for every song and singing every song. Because I have that inclination to want to jump around and interact with the crowd and do high fives with the crowd and jump into the crowd and do circle pits with them. And I did that for a long time. So I was like, can we go back? Does it make sense? Is that taking a step back if I'm now kind of locked onto the stage? And just another case of like where this tour just kind of like just shattered all of those anxieties that I had about it. And what Nick was saying, we're just like it was every show was so quality, and everybody was dancing and singing and just looking out at everybody's smiles for all these songs that we worked so hard on. And like it just we're in the best era of Stacked Like Pancakes that we've ever had, and it's really, really exciting to say.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
100%.
You can definitely still play guitar and be a front man though. So
Yeah, I know. And that is, yeah, that is obvious. You're right. But again, like I was in my head about it very
we've
much
all
so.
been there. We've all
Right,
been
yeah,
there.
just going for tour. But yeah, this tour made that it is kind of like duh. Yeah,
It eased your anxiety, so that's
exactly.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. So when it does come to touring, a lot of independent artists start off regional before booking bigger tours. And as a DIY band, how do you typically plan for that?
No, say that. I'm sorry. Can you say that again? Sorry.
I'm
I
sorry.
said, as a DIY band, how do you typically plan for it? Like starting off as an independent artist, you start off normally regionally before you start booking bigger tours, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we like when I guess going back to when we did like Warp Tour and stuff, you know, and our tour with Real Big Fish, that helped really put us on the map too. We've in essence tried to just navigate routes that we revisit those cities that were uh kind of instrumental to our growth and developing pockets of fans in different parts of the country. Um, and wherever we've had the strongest reception and turnout, we've revisited those cities the most. And we keep them in mind. And actually, that ties back into, I think, what we were talking about before with that Milwaukee show. It's like we didn't know really what to expect because it had been so long since we played there. But that went so well, and like I said, we're keeping that in mind for the future. I think bottom line, wherever we're wanted, we'll go. It's just a matter of sometimes it takes a little bit longer for us to realize where we're really wanted. Or if there might be a new fan base kind of growing in different cities too, if we see like trends on social media or in the analytics of streaming, that actually is another big way that we kind of, well, it just is a part of it that we navigate touring is where are the, with the artists analytics for Spotify and Apple Music, you can see geographically where all of our listeners are. So kind of makes sense logically to play where you're where
Okay, can I tell you what I think is the ticket? I say fuck all that analytic shit. Don't pay attention to it's like I'm like I take the Bandcamp route, right? I post it on Bandcamp. I don't even look at the plays and streams on Bandcamp. I don't look at the downloads. I don't pay attention to that shit. When I want to book a tour, I want to book a tour with the sickest fucking local bands in every fucking city, dude. So that's exactly what we set out to do on this tour. And if it weren't for all those sick local bands on every single night, none of these crowds would have came out the way they did. That Milwaukee crowd, Mescalis, local legends, man alive. Their fans turned out to support because they saw, oh, they're open for a band that has a ton of Spotify numbers. Let me tell you something. Spotify numbers sometimes don't mean shit. I book a lot of artists in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a lot of them they have very impressive like EPK kits. They have very impressive YouTube numbers, Spotify numbers, and everything. And they come here and they bring one person, two people. Nobody like comes to see their local shows. Why? Because the people who consume their shit are consuming it on their phone, and they're spread out all over the place. They don't really have a community anywhere. When you want to build a music community, you go and find the good ones that are already there. That's exactly what we did. And that's exactly what made this tour so successful. That music community with Minneapolis that we had with the Prize Fighters and Goodbye Mordecai. We played with them the last time we were in Minneapolis. Before that, they're ska bands. Space Monkey Mafia, big time ska band in Minneapolis. They're making waves. Every single time a touring ska band comes through those cities, those are the bands that they play with. And I see that all the time. I look at the big bands and look at their Instagrams and their Facebooks and see who they're playing with. All the local bands that they're playing with, I'm like, that's who I want to play with in every single city because those are the ones who have taken the time to learn their instruments and go out and promote the show and sell the show and build a community within themselves so that by the time we get there, it's waiting for us. It's the most beautiful thing in the world to see in my experience. That's what I try to do here in Pittsburgh. Everything that I do with my DIY community here, I see that happening in every single city across America. And so when I come to town and I come with Stacked Like Pancakes, that's where I want to go. Fuck the Spotify numbers. And not even like not completely. I say that like jokingly because there's some people that show up to our shows. I'm like, I have no idea who that person is. And they're like, oh, I found you on Spotify. And I'm here. There are those people. There's plenty of those
that
people.
happen at almost every show. It's like
that's
came up on my discovery, like that is real.
And so it goes to my further point where those people, who came to see us on Spotify, they had no idea that there was a local ska scene in their community. Now they got new friends that they just made. Oh, I just met these people tonight. I didn't know there were so many sick local. I didn't even know about these guys. And it's all because they came because of our Spotify numbers. So it works both ways. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We help local scenes grow by bringing the people that we bring. Maybe it's one or two people. That's all it takes sometimes. And they blend. That helps the local communities grow and the local DIY scene grow as a whole, as a nation. It's the fucking sickest thing in the world to be a part of.
I think it's a good cohesion, that we have. Like I love and need Nick's perspective in that way. But the analytics are important too.
yes. The analytics are important too.
They are important too. But
they are important.
But Nick is also right. I think you need both to be successful.
The question was like when you go into like booking tours, right? When you go into booking the shows, when you're going to build a community.
True.
Yeah, but if for the folks listening at home, go to shows, even if they're not your show. If you're a local musician, go support your friends' bands. That's all it takes, because otherwise we're not going to have a local scene. Support each other out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember Milwaukee had a really good scene, and I don't honestly go to a lot of local stuff anymore because I have a job, so I can't get to stuff as much. And when I was younger, though, man, I remember like I voted for Kodos was really big. I don't know if you remember that band.
I
They were
don't know.
they were from Madison, but they were a pretty big
Oh.
band and they were a ska band. I remember them. And I remember going to like high school shows and everything, and that was
Yeah.
always fun.
I voted
Yeah.
for Kodos as a great band name from a Simpsons episode.
Really?
That's amazing. Yeah. So it's a Halloween of horror where Kang and Kodos invade, and the residents are forced to vote for one of the aliens. And like Kodos takes over, and Homer at the end of the episode was like, "Don't look at me. I vote for." Wait, he voted for Kang. He's like, "Don't look at me. I vote for Kodos."
Oh,
Yeah, so that's
God.
a great Simpsons. But I was gonna say, see, Jess, we're on the right path. Like our numbers may not always be great, but the people that listen to us love us.
Yeah.
Right?
So like we're doing the right thing. We're building that
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely.
I hate to be a slight buzzkill. I only have like 5 minutes. The good news is we only have like 3 questions left to power through.
Okay, so we can swing through them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of third wave ska bands in the late 90s, early 2000s would perform in suits. Any chance of us catching Stacked Like Pancakes in a three-piece?
No. I don't know if
sweat
I can
right through
say
that shit.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that any clearer. No. That's just not our thing. I want everybody's like character and themselves to be present on stage.
I don't want anyone to get heat stroke and pass out on
That
stage.
too.
That's going to be
That too.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, sure, that would be really hot, Chris. I don't even think I'd want to wear that.
Well, that's why I
Yeah.
was always shocked. Like
The guy
Muddy
from the
Muddy-
Boss Tones. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
exactly who you're about
like
to
full
say.
on, but no, like
Yeah.
Catch-22 used to do it a lot, and I think to an extent Planet Smashers would do it.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing like some old Catch-22 photos. I think you're right.
Maybe like for Halloween one year or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe like a little, you
Sure.
know, as a
That-
shtick or
as
something.
like a gimmick. Yeah.
That would be great if the whole band went out on Halloween dressed in like three-piece suits, and when somebody asks who you are, you're like, "We're a ska band."
Got a 9mm in a 3-piece suit.
I just I like performance aspects like choreography. So I think that's why I resonated a lot with Suburban Legends, because they
Mm.
always had great choreography on stage.
Yeah, they're the shit.
See, yeah, we're trying to. So actually, shout out Kristen, our trombonist. She is a director and teacher for the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens marching band, and so she has a lot of experience with the choreography side of things and coordinating a large group of musicians and in that way for more of the showmanship of it. And I really wanted her to embrace kind of that role with, so we could kind of move towards. I really love that too when I saw Suburban Legends, and I was like, God damn, like that is something else. It just adds to it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I love choreography. It doesn't even have to be a ska band. Just give me some type of a
Agreed.
performance that's got like where you're synchronized. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
we
something
have-
about synchronizing on stage.
Yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, I
Uh-huh.
like that.
We have a synchronized kick in what is it, Suburban Superhero.
Yeah,
We do the real big fish kick that they do in
yeah,
we ripped it off of them.
yeah.
That's
Stuff like that,
You just
yeah.
borrowed it. You borrowed it. You didn't rip it off. You borrowed it.
Yeah, we borrowed it.
we'll
I'm
give
sure
it
they
back
saw
if-
it from somebody else.
We'll give
yeah.
it back.
We'll give it back when they start playing shows again.
Yeah, we'll give it back. Yeah,
You know what? When we do a tour, if they ask us to do another tour, then we'll give it back. How's that?
yeah.
If you're listening.
Yeah, Aaron Barrett, if you're listening, I want to play a show with you again.
Please.
Hey, you have to will it to be. So
That's right.
will
We're
it
manifesting
into existence.
Yeah, exactly.
So in an age of social media and connecting with an audience online, do you feel it benefits your band?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have a Discord server for like the Pancake Nation. It's more just like a chat room, I guess, with all of our fans, and we have like a memes channel. We have a pets show off your pets channel. So we do have that hangout and kind of keeps everybody kind of like engaged and just chatting with each other. So people get to know us more individually. We get to know our fans and supporters more individually, and then when we go see them at a show, it's like we're all best buds. Like it's awesome. And so that has really been a beautiful thing. And
We do some Twitch hangouts every now and then too.
Twitch hangouts. Yeah, it keeps everybody engaged and keeps things moving forward, I think, and in the time that we're not playing shows.
Yeah. What platform do you think has been working best for you guys?
Ooh.
Curious.
I
Well,
think
best for me, I want to say real quick is Twitch, because I get to interact with the chat and get to know people. I made lifelong friends on Twitch. Our trumpet player we found on Twitch.
Very true.
Nice.
I guess best in terms of like recent growth would be Instagram. Finally getting that Instagram verification and just seeing the numbers go up in terms of like how many people view our stuff. It's like, Instagram or Meta that is just a shit company, but it's kind of a evil.
Hopefully they're not listening and they take away your verified.
Fuck you,
stamp.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I take it back. I love
Take your verified check mark
Mark
and shove it
Zuckerberg.
straight up your
Okay.
ass, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, it's too late now, I guess. But no, it's an evil we all have to face as musicians, where Meta will gatekeep our reach to the people who genuinely like our music and support
Yeah,
us.
unless you pay him a bunch of money.
And oftentimes, yeah, you just gotta throw a bunch of money at Meta in order to reach them. But
They got it all figured out there.
yeah, so
We don't have to get into it. It's making me mad just thinking about it.
okay. But yeah, I'll just leave it at like, Instagram. We've seen a lot of success on there recently.
Yeah.
And now for the most important question that everybody wants to know. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Velociraptor. Especially
like
the ones the raptors that hunt in packs, like that hunt like together.
I've always liked the
That's sick.
pterodactyl because it starts with a P. I just think
Oh.
that's random as fuck. Like, who decided that?
The pterodactyl.
The pterodactyl, yeah.
Yeah, they
Like-
also live in groups. Like I'm all about group work. I'm all about teamwork. I'm a big team guy. So,
Well, you are in a ska band, and that's a big team.
I am. I play in a rec hockey league. I play on a rec hockey team. I like being part of a team. I'm on the team that sets up and tears down stages. Like I just set up the Green Day show here in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
I'm a big group guy. So say yeah, Velociraptors. They're sick group hunters.
And actually, funny thing is, you said pterodactyl, which apparently I was told was not a dinosaur.
No shit. I think I did. Now that you say that, somebody did. Okay, so I lose. What? God.
But I mean, we'll take it as an answer. Don't you worry.
Okay, please take it.
Because everybody we've had other people say like a pterodactyl, and I'm like,
Prehistoric animal.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
prehistoric animal, but it's considered more of a bird, I think. isn't
Right.
it, Chris?
Yeah.
No, it's considered a flying reptile.
A flying reptile. Okay.
Dinosaurs weren't really reptiles. So
Okay, sick.
Oh.
Chris and Jessica for that, and Kellen. Kellen's already heard this. So, real quick before we go, and everybody at home, I have homework for you guys as far as dinosaurs goes. So, there is a band here from Pittsburgh, local band. They're called Urban Doctors. If you look them up, Urban Doctors is the name. They have a song on Spotify. It's called The Dinosaur Song. And if dinosaurs are your shit, this song is your shit. Just so you know, the dinosaur song. Shout out the dinosaur song. Shout out Urban Doctors. Shout out Chris and Jessica for having us on your podcast tonight. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, we're glad to have you. You guys we're our first ska band, so
Nice.
Let's
We're
do it. Let's
honored.
go.
That's awesome.
We're the first domino. Let's go.
we're the first domino. Now we have to think of some other ska bands to have on, Chris.
should be pretty easy.
Are you sure?
To think of ska bands, yes. To get them on, that's a different story.
Okay.
I can help you out. Just send me a DM. Got a ton of recommendations that would definitely come on.
Well, we'll definitely DM you about that because we're always
sure.
looking for recommendations. So
Hell yeah. It's sick to be on an emo based podcast,
Yeah.
Oh,
a
yeah.
ska band. We got a lot of
we're
like
elder
emo lyrics.
emos.
Elder emos.
Yeah, as are we. We just play in a ska band.
Yeah.
We
You
have
know?
we have been trying to branch out with some of our guests. It's not all emo guests, so
No, we've had some interesting guests on and like some different types of music that you wouldn't be considered like emo. We had Sam Tabor on and he's more folk.
That's cool.
we had a
That's awesome.
comedian on a while back. So
See, there you go.
We
Sick.
also just recently had a front of house engineer on.
What? That's actually pretty sick. That's actually super sick. Our old guitarist does that. Does that now. That's
Yeah.
why he's not in the band anymore. He's doing professional audio work now. So that's
We wanted
guys are-
different.
you guys
We
are
like
doing
to
the
get
right
different. We'd like to get the different perspective. Like, what is it like for a front of house engineer
Oh, that's
on
brilliant.
tour?
Yeah.
And it just
Oh,
so
yeah.
happens that he actually liked a interview we did with All American Rejects because he's actually their front of house engineer.
Wow.
Oh.
How about that?
So yeah,
I
That was
love
a
the
fun
All
one.
American Rejects. Hell yeah. Well, it's been an honor to be on your podcast, guys. Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's been great. And maybe sometime when we're not more pressed for time, we come back on.
Anytime.
Oh yeah,
Anytime.
Absolutely. Let's stay in
almost.
touch
We've
about it.
always invited our guests back on, so anyone's always welcome back. We haven't really had anyone that we would be like, okay, we're never having them on again.
Sick.
No.
We have a great community. We have a great online community. So we're always looking to grow it and blend communities and meet other peoples. We're all about that. Everything we do in real life, we do online. So it's great to meet you guys.
Yes, for sure.
Sweet.
Thank you guys.
That's all we got.
Thanks
We'll
for
talk to
coming
you
on.
soon. Stay in
Really
touch.
appreciate it.
Yes, we will stay in touch, and we'll let you know. I'll post stuff when the interview is going to be coming out. So
And I-
Great.
And I know you guys were worried. I got Christian McCaffrey on our team, so
Let's go. Let's go. You got
basically-
McCaffrey.
yeah,
We're-
dude,
DMC.
We're
All
set.
right.
We're set.
basically we're gonna win. Yeah, it's all good.
We're set. All right, guys. Have a great night.
have a good
Thanks, you
night.
too.
Bye.